Okay, am I on? Okay, sorry. I'm still getting used to this go live thing, and I take my glasses off so the computer glare won't bounce off them. And so I'm like, am I live? So I am. Um, Today I wanted to talk about being physically with many others. We're all telepathic, and to the extent we recognize that, to the extent we're not just putting our seemingly individual personality all over everything and seeing everything as having a purpose for our personality and its expansion, kind of, or its dominance, we allow in that mind to mind connection that's underneath everything. So if we're looking on the surface and only judging the surface, which we're very, very accustomed to do, which we're taught to do here, we're ignoring the telepathic connection, the mind to mind connection. And I'm shown two kinds of telepathic connection. One is like if I just speak to you and say, hello, how are you doing? Um, but maybe I'm also thinking and you're picking up on the quality of those thoughts. You might not receive the thought like, like I want chocolate right now. Um, but you might receive the feeling quality, the emotional quality, or the density or the lightness of those thoughts of the ones who seem to be right around you. So there are like different ways in which telepathy can operate. It doesn't always sound like a conversation. It can be what we think of as empathy too. We're feeling the energies of the seemingly separate ones around us. But I keep being, for maximum functionality during the day, I keep being taken down to a not a lower level, because we think of hierarchies, lower is worse, a foundational level. And the foundational level of everything is love. It is scintillating harmony. It is peace. But it's very alive. That's why I use the word scintillating or vibrating. It's very alive and very beautiful and without conflict of any kind. It's unified. So um, what I'm being shown about all minds is that they're always connected and that they're always communicating. And what they're always communicating is only one thing, it's love. It's just, if you think of each mind, where the one mind at its most basic level is aware of this love and abiding in this love. So when you're told by spirits or angels, you are asleep in heaven and you abide in heaven. That can be a great comfort to you here in what seems to be this physical place as a place of conflict and uncertainty and doubt. And so you can get the feeling of that. But I'm being shown more and more in public with other people, you're always communicating. So even when you sense on the first telepathic level, when you sense dissension or insecurity or like you feel tensions, first of all those beings are playing divine roles and they're all there to help you accept your own healing, even if they don't know it. So if you're kind of tuning into that first telepathic level, and you're aware of uncomfortable feelings. Um, this is important for empaths who have a challenging time going out in public. Now, it's silly of me on the one hand to even label empaths, but because it's an ability everybody has, but it's like people who are very aware of it and people who are disturbed by being able to tune into this first telepathic level and the disturbances we can experience there. I had a difficult time with it myself, and I was shown how I had to go right past that down into the peace we all are, the peace we all share all the time, in order to have peace. Like literally, the lesson was if you want peace in the grocery store, because I was given an opportunity to tune into the first telepathic level of just of thought. Um, and it was hilarious and very disturbing. It's not like I hear people's thoughts all the time or even often. It's more like a scrap here or there. Um, and most of the time, it's more like the empathy thing or just the general sensing thing. And now that I know it's all there for my healing, for my coming out of this attachment to separate person to separate person communication and kind of descending down and settling down into our true home, which is allowing the love we are, that beautiful foundation of scintillating harmony and joy, allowing that to dictate everything. Now, the ego hears the word dictate and doesn't like it because the ego is an invention by us. It's good to take responsibility for our inventions so we know how easily they can be dissolved. Ego does not like that either. Ego is still active in Julie. And Julie, it's not, I know, talking about myself in the third person. I'm just trying to make it clear. Julie is not free of fear or insecurity. And that becomes apparent to me when I am in public for a long period of time. Um, the insecure thoughts, uncomfortable thoughts, judgments, comparisons start coming up with more frequency. And yesterday I was almost never home yesterday, which they say is a good metaphor because as time continued when I was out in public and distracted by what seemed to be all these energies around me, um, I didn't go home as much, home to the heart of us, home to where this foundation of love is. You know, if you think of up here is the surface, and then here is where I'm invited to be all the time. And I'm encouraged to let here, the scintillating, joyous foundation of love and harmony that's always active, to allow that to come up and dictate the actions, to come up and dictate the words when I forget to go home because I'm so distracted. Um, at home, my physical home, my house, I associate that with a place where I can stop and take a minute to meditate when I notice myself getting distracted and go in and reset and maybe read a little bit. Um, even during a busy day. And but I didn't take those opportunities yesterday. I got more distracted. So by the end of the day, I was a lot more aware of insecure thoughts and feelings. And the celebration there is I was not making it anybody else's fault. I just really noticed that these thoughts were more frequent by the end of the day, and that I did some work to go in and center, but it didn't seem effective because I just let myself get thrown off that balance. Um, and so as a result of that, what I was shown is you really don't want to stay up here where Separate Julie is in charge of anything. You want to stay here where Julie is not separate and truly is one with everything, and allow that to dictate everything. And there are still places where I don't do that. There's like this need to control, this need to stay in charge, this need to manage, and it's not gone. And I know that because I have moments of disturbance. And I know that because when I seem to be in public versus in a more relaxed setting, that experience gets more intense. I, it's funny, I appreciate myself because when somebody seems to have a spiritual awakening, um, and it's not complete yet, I have not heard people talk a lot about this. Now that's funny because it's my own projection, right? But whatever, I'll just go with this. Let me own the projection first, though. But what I didn't seem to hear was on that journey on the way out to really allowing the love we are to dictate everything, everything, all the time. I don't hear those voices, even though we're all the way out, we're on the way out together. I don't hear those voices from the ones saying, "Yes, I'm allowing this to take over. Um, and here's where it feels good, and here's where it flows, and here's where I'm not allowing it to take over yet. Here's where I'm not awakened. Here's where I'm not speaking as the love we are." Now, to say it is to make it true. You don't want to insist on it or complain about it. But I think like an honest and vulnerable sharing on our way out of ego dominance is helpful for everybody. And to, what do I want to say? I don't want to pose myself as a character like I'm the honest one about awakening, because that's ego. See, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm owning it. That's not right, because I can't judge anybody else. So it's like this feeling of rightness or not rightness, and it will be our guide, and um, we become more discerning about it, and we realize that the feeling of rightness is feeling good. That's truly feeling good. That's accessing this base level of what we are, and allowing that to run things. So there's still this struggle back and forth, but we're always guided, and we have so many teachers. And the teachers aren't just the ones I talk to. I say that there are non-physical teams, and they're always around us, and they're always here offering healing to us. At any moment, we can stop and accept healing just by having the intention, just by being willing to allow them in, and being willing to see things differently, being willing to have the perception corrected. When we focus on those things and know we're really having an opportunity for that, we get a lot of help. And it's funny how when I'm in public for long periods of time, I will forget that. I will forget I have help on tap around me every minute, because I am so distracted by what seems to be going on around me. So there we are. But the other invitation is not just from the ones who are the non-physicals around me. They're saying, take advantage of every single divine role everybody else is playing for you perfectly without missing a beat. So if you're feeling more of these uncomfortable, the impact of uncomfortable thoughts when you're in public, remember that everybody around you is like a therapist, and they're helping you see your attachment to ego. If you're uncomfortable at all in their presence, they're gifting you with the exact location of where you're still holding on. So in that moment, I've been told this so many times, and I've probably said it to you so many times. In that moment, you can accept healing. But every time I experience, it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And so what really came through to me was, first of all, everybody's your helper. The non-physicals who are all always around you are your helpers. Everybody seemingly in this world is a helper, because they're either reflecting the joy we are back to us, just enjoying and appreciating with us, or they're helping us see exactly where we're holding on to controlling life from the perspective of a personality that's gonna die, controlling life from the point of death. And that's not fun. That's not happiness. And we can let go of it. And we have the means to let go of it all around us. Um, so just appreciation for everything, no matter how it's showing up. Everything is our way out. And we're surrounded by guides and way showers and healers in every moment. So there really is nothing that can go wrong, um, because we're just so very supported by everything. So what I'm invited to after yesterday, I went out to a group in the morning and came home for a very brief period of time, and went out to hear some speakers at night, and I really enjoyed it. That I was in so much joy and appreciation for a lot of that time. But by the end, I was relieved to get home. I was like, ah. And I thought, well, why this fatigue? Um, why is it like this? And so what they invite me to is, if you're always acting from here, then everything is dictated. And that's where ego kicks up. Everything is dictated from the place where you're connected to all of those beautiful beings. So everything goes really smoothly. And I'm getting two messages here. Without fatigue, that's an ideal. We're invited to drop our ideals and our idea of perfectionism on our way out, but we're also invited to the perfection we are. So um, I'm just invited to that level where all are connected, to allow that to dictate everything, and to set down any remaining attachments I have to controlling things as a Julie. So I will do that right now. I got the non physicals around me. I have this perspective, and in the space of a breath, I'm going to recognize my willingness to drop these attachments and to allow everything to flow. And they use the breath with me, but I've realized that the breath too is a concept. It's just as much of a concept as anything else is. And I'm probably not willing to, I use the word willing, that was telling. Um, I was thinking it's probably not time to go there and to let go of that focus of the breath yet. But we don't even need the focus of the breath to get us there. It's just a little device I use for settling down, for focus. Um, but it's not like it's the magic of the breath that allows that healing. It's just, it's what I'm doing instead of everything else. It gets me to settle down, and notice mind, and notice apparently conflicting minds up here on the surface, and notice the beauty of shared mind at our foundation. It's always there. And who's participating in the beauty of shared, unified, harmonious, joyful mind? Everybody around you, no matter what role they're playing. So it's possible to be grateful for everybody, to have gratitude and love for everybody, because of how they're showing you and how they're helping you, and how at this level of heart they're participating in that. Without them, it wouldn't exist. They're all in there. They're all at that beautiful level of shared mind. And that includes any bad guys that you're perceiving. Like if you perceive reptilians in your world, they're there too. It couldn't be that beautiful light and love without them. Everybody's being is there. Um, so that's just incredible. And when we're walking around in the day to day, we can exist there at that level and let that foundation, our true shared being, dictate everything. It's funny. Every time I say the word dictate today, the ego just gives us this little kick, like, no. So, there it is. And there's where I can accept healing. There's where I can allow the perception to change. I'm really getting down into the layers. So that's good. That's a celebration. And as we get down into those layers, they feel dense. And I've done this so many times, so many layers of healing. I'm sure you have too. As we get down into those dense layers, we can feel we have gone backwards. We can feel depressed for hours or for a day or for longer. We can feel really irritated or irritable or getting in touch with anger. Um, so we can have those pockets of time that are very challenging emotionally. But I'm always encouraged to celebrate when I'm being told, look what you're accessing. You thought that your daily activities and your speech and your actions um, were just kind of, your thing that you did. And that sometimes you were victim to a world that was kind of sucky. But instead, when you're in this space of like depression or anger or whatever it is that seems to be dominant, that's difficult at the time, sadness, you're really getting into the foundation of what you have been allowing to dictate the actions and the speech and the thoughts. So now that you're in the dysfunction, you're right in the dysfunction, you're recognizing it and you're not hiding from it. That's a celebration. So when we're right in the middle of the dysfunction, um, that's when we can accept healing and say, well, obviously I want to set this down. I don't need it anymore. And one of the symbols I'm always given is put on the tray, put on the tray. I've had this symbol for a long time. I think I just heard David Hoffmeister use it too. It's like, for me, it's different trays, but like sometimes it's a golden tray. Set on the tray, let go. It's not for you anymore. That's not what you want running things. And just that willingness to go deeper and to see where you're going, it helps you let go because you know you're going toward peace. You're going to toward what you are, not toward what you thought you had to pretend to be to hide in this world. Because the reason we're hiding this world is is because we think we'll be punished for kind of ripping a hole in what we think all of creation is, by showing up as separate and conflicted and doing things like war and murder and um, all the crazy conflicted things we seem to do here. It's all an illusion. This could only happen in an illusion. I'm certain of that now. I've like gone to the heart enough times to remember this could only happen in an illusion. And yet I persist in holding on to guilt. And I feel that. I feel when it's present. And I know that that healing is there all around me. So that's what I will do today. Lather, rinse, repeat. Whenever I notice the attachment, there's nothing more important than that. Um, and that will be interesting to see where I forge ahead in the physical. Now that I just said there's nothing more important than that, let me notice when I forge ahead in the physical and the activity, because I think there's something more important than accepting healing and settling down into the love that we all are. So I wish you very well on your healing journey. I want to make myself available if anybody wants to talk or sort things out. You can go to lovesbeginning.com and contact me there, and I'm always happy to email or have a phone call, whatever's helpful. So have a great week.